out to test my double slotted flaps today. I changed the bell crank on the flap handle. So instead of getting 53 degrees of flaps at total flaps, I now have 70 degrees of flaps, which should create a lot more drag, make it fly slower. It's a little windy out today, so I'm not sure how great the testing is going to be, but I think it might give me a little bit of an idea. We'll see. Okay, here we go. Definitely won't be coming back. Too windy. Anyway, I'm going to head down to the Columbia, so I'm going to turn off the camera for a little bit.
Well, yesterday I had a failure of my left inboard flap hanger. After adjusting the amount of deflection that I get on my flaps from about 53 to over 70 degrees, it's just too much stress on the flap hanger, and it bent. And I didn't realize it until I looked back and I saw one of my flaps stuck down. Ironically, I'm actually running the experimental flap hangers right now, or the experimental reinforcement for the flap hanger in my shop. And so you can see here the difference between the experimental one and this is the first operation, so you don't actually see the whole finished part, but I'll show you that when I get to the airplane. And the difference in length between the two, this one's 6 inches long and this one's almost 10 inches long. And this one's solid, and then you'll see that this one's channeled out, and then it has kind of a short finger. I don't think it's strong enough for, you know, large flap deflections. It's probably fine for the stock flap deflection. I wasn't having a problem with the stock deflection. And just make sure you don't pull your flaps on until you're down in the white arc, and, you know, get the airplane slowed down before you start pulling on all the notches of flaps. So anyway, I ran those 4 pieces yesterday, and I primered them because I didn't want them to corrode, and I didn't want to take the time to send them out for anodize because I want to fly my airplane. So I primered them instead. They should be fine. Ran those parts pretty quickly. I think it took me 45 minutes to bust out those 4 parts, but I was already partially set up. So this is the total flap deflection I have now. It's a lot. And it's this inboard hanger that bent. I kind of straightened it. So I'm hoping that once I get the stiffener in there, it'll be fine. I won't know until I get the stiffener in there and see how bent it looks like inside. So I've started to pull apart the airplane so that I can put these extended stiffeners in. The only way to do it is to get the flaps off the airplane because it's got to slide in the channel. So this was the piece that was in there for the experimental, and I just don't think personally it's strong enough for what I feel like I need. I'm actually gonna go the extra step and do the beef up kit on the false spar so that it'll be just like the certified version. So I'll have the solid stiffener, and then there's reinforcement plates that go around the hinge points that get Cherry Max riveted to the false spar. So that'll be the next step. But for today, I'm just putting on the stiffener and putting it back together so I can fly it. Okay, here's the stiffener that bent. You can see from an engineering standpoint, it doesn't even make sense. The part that you need the channel on should really be up inside the wing. And this is the part that's up inside the wing. So it has no strength whatsoever. Well, for some reason, this channel is too tight for the stiffener. It basically probably needs at least 20 thousandths to come off for it to slide in there. I looked at filing it, and the way it's boxed in, you can't file it just to open it up. So I got to drive back over to my shop and machine the top of this thing off another 20 thousandths. Ugh. So this will be like my third trip back over to the house. Okay, so I've been out flying, testing the new double slotted flaps with the 70 degrees of deflection, and it's pretty amazing. So my numbers before with stock flaps, I was landing at about probably 41 or 42 miles per hour. Then I put the double slotted flaps on, and with the stock ratchet in place, I was getting about 53 degrees of deflection, and that equated to around, my best guess is somewhere between 39 and 40 miles per hour landing speed. So then I reconfigured the bell crank on my flap handle, extended it, and it gives me somewhere above 70 degrees of deflection, probably like 71, 72 degrees of deflection on the flaps. Of course, I bent the one hanger, so then I beefed it up. So then I just came down here, and it's fairly calm here on this sandy island that I'm doing a drag on. And I'm dragging it both directions. And so to be fair, the one direction I'm seeing 33 to 34 miles per hour. And the opposite direction I'm seeing 38 to 39 miles per hour. So if we took the average, let's take the 34 and the 39, that's 5, so 2.5. So that means I'm landing at somewhere around 36 to 37 miles per hour with the double slotted flaps now. Pretty amazing, but they really don't work until you get them on past the 50, probably 55 degrees. I mean, you see maybe a 2 mile per hour reduction at the stock flap setting, but you get in the 70 degree range and you see another 2 degrees of reduction in your ground speed. So I would say that they are worth the money. So 4 miles, let's see, that would be over what my stock landing speed was. I was landing at 41, 42. So, and now I'm landing at 36. Let's say I was landing at 41, and now I'm landing at 36. That's 5 miles per hour if I did my addition right. Pretty amazing. And since I went to the stiffener, the beefed up stiffener, they look fine. They're not doing anything weird. I'm gonna mount a GoPro so you can see the deflection even with the reflex. So I'm gonna mount a GoPro up now. I'm gonna mount 2 GoPros, one on my ground speed and one on the deflection of the flaps.
70. Down right there. So the wind's kind of changed a little bit. There's 39, 40, 41, 40. The wind's picked up definitely since I did this last time around. But it won't really matter, we'll just average it. So, I don't know, I was seeing like 39 to 41. Come back around the other way. Right now I just have one notch of flaps on. Wind's a little less predictable than it was about half an hour ago. That's full flaps there. So that's 32, 29, 29.9 a touchdown. Back in the air at 31, touchdown 31. 32. Try it again the other way. Yeah, the wind was better just a half an hour ago before I set up the cameras. Or less wind, it was more predictable. It's, as I was flying down here, it was pretty windy and gusty coming down, and I was actually surprised to see it calm right here. Or fairly calm, and there's only about a 5 mile an hour differential, but it was pretty laminar. It wasn't hard to control it. So got no flaps, gonna pull the first notch on. Pull the second notch on. Third notch. That's 41. 40. 39. Touched. 39. 41. Yeah, about 41. Somewhere between 39 and 41 that way. But one more time the other way. Ideally, it's best to do this kind of testing on a calm day where you can drag it both directions and see pretty much the same number. And I'll come back out and do it another day, but I was just kind of curious. Go to all the trouble of changing something and you are in a hurry to see how much those changes really affected the performance of the airplane. One thing you'll notice is my airspeed indicator's totally whacked. I mean, it's not even, it's fairly close on the bottom end. It's closer on the bottom end than it is on the top end. It shows me going like 140 in cruise flight, which is obviously not true. So I got full flaps in again. That's about 33, 32, 31 I touched, 29 I'm flying, 29, 31, 32, 32, 32, pretty solid at 32. And I have a little, probably tote bag and my camera equipment, and probably somewhere around 16, 17 gallons of fuel. Coasting in here. Second notch of flaps just came on. Third notch of flaps. Whoops, I touched. 38. 39. 39, I touched just a little bit there. 40. 41. 41. 41. Not touching. Okay, so I would say let's go with 41 on the one direction and 32 on the other direction, 33, so that would be 7, 8, 4. That put me at about 36 or 37, kind of the same as what I was seeing when I was testing before. It's just a bigger differential. Okay, come back around and turn the cameras off.